So Survivor Series is right around the corner, and what I want to do is go through my top 10 favorite Survivor Series posters of all time. So before we get into this, guys, please do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get into it. So let's just start this list off with a banger and what I consider as one of the greatest wrestling posters of all time, not just in WWE, but in any promotion that I've ever watched. And this is the poster for Survivor Series 2004. Now, the comic book art style of this poster is beautiful. It's amazing. And as a person who loves to collect comic books, who love comic book art style, I also draw, and I used to draw comic books back in the day. I can appreciate this poster on so many different levels. For one, this is the only poster in WWE history that was done like this. The only one. And number two, when you sit back and just look at it, looking at the drawing and the accuracy of the wrestlers, to the proportions, to the ink work and the painting, whoever did this poster did an amazing job. And as time goes on and AI starts to take over artwork, the fact that a person sat and took their time to draw, ink, and paint this by hand, it makes you appreciate this poster even more every time you come back and look at it. And this poster, in my personal opinion, is one of the few posters that actually have stood the test of time. But if you want to take away the artwork part of it and you just look at it as a wrestling fan, this just encapsulates how many great wrestlers we had around back at that time. From the late great Eddie Guerrero to Shelton Benjamin to John Cena to Big Show. Take that as you may, okay? To Chris Benoit, to Randy Orton, to Chris Jericho, to Triple H, to Batista, to JBL. I'm not a big JBL fan. I'm a fan of Bradshaw. I'm a part of the APA for life, but this Bradshaw guy, I don't know anything about him. The only JBL I acknowledge is headphones and speakers. But if you like JBL, okay, I rock with you. You like him, I love him, okay? We got Booker T, Ric Flair, Edge, Kurt Angle, my GOAT, and of course in the back, jumping in the air like this is a let's watch a Disney Channel movie commercial, Rey Mysterio, right? And I love that about Rey. I love his energy. I mean, his theme song at the time asks you who's that jumping out the sky, and he always finds a way in the poster to answer that question. But overall, this poster is amazing. I love this poster. This poster never gets old to me. So the next poster we have is from 1994 Survivor Series. And I have so much nostalgic attachment to this because this was literally my first t-shirt that I've ever gotten from a thrift store. My first wrestling t-shirt that I've ever gotten, and it was from a thrift store with this on there. Now, I don't know if it was a legit shirt or someone just screen pinned it on there, but either way, I had his face on my shirt. And this pretty much shows us how creepy The Undertaker is and why he creeped me out as a kid. But what I ultimately appreciate about this is that old school Survivor Series logo. I love that, man. I like the newer logos is okay, but this one, I love the Battletoad-esque style of the logo, but also I love when WWE draws inspiration from actual movies. If you didn't know, this movie is this poster is heavily influenced by a movie called Tombstone that came out the year before in 1993, which is why you see the cowboys in the back and why the Undertaker is probably going to eventually kill those guys. But overall, I love the 80s style watercolor type, posters like this. I just love it, bro. I think this is amazing. It's very simple, but I feel like it's very effective at the same time. The next poster we have here is one of the craziest posters I've ever seen when it comes to pro wrestling, but that's one of the main reasons that I absolutely love it. And this is from Survivor Series 1993, happening on Thanksgiving Eve. So there's an alternative poster for this, but I like this poster the most because, as I said, the Survivor Series logo, I'ma love it every time. The WWF logo from back in the day is a great nostalgic cherry on top of everything else. But as I told you guys before, I love 80s watercolor style posters, and this really hits it. But what's funny is what's going on in the middle. You got Lex Luger with a knife, and then you got Tatanka on the left, you got the Steiner brothers on the right, and then you got a turkey in the center of the poster dressed like Yokozuna. What is going This is the craziest thing I've probably ever seen. And can you imagine going to the Steiner's house for Thanksgiving, trying to divide up the food with Steiner math? Let me get 3/4 and a half of that drumstick. Let me get 6/7 and a half of that breast. You can get 6, 7, and 5 and a half of that macaroni. That will be a crazy and annoying Thanksgiving to participate in. But overall, all corny jokes aside, bro, I love this poster, man. This was done amazing. It's so much nostalgic value in this. All right, so moving on to the next poster. You guys already know what this is. This is from Survivor Series 2022. This gotta be the greatest Dat Piff mixtape style WWE poster of all time, bro. This looked like they just put a classic back in 2003. This is what it looks like right here. But I love this poster for so many different reasons. For one, whoever designed this did the thing that I love what people do in art, and that is having the person who's looking at it eyes go around and just pay attention to everything, right? You have the Universal Championship in the middle, so obviously that's the focal point that you look up and say, who's wearing that title? The tribal chief, of course, and then you start to look around and you start to look at the other members of the bloodline, and this encapsulates the apex of one of the greatest stories in professional wrestling history, and this shows us clearly what each person does in a group. You got Jimmy and Jay drawing on, chalk on the ground, coming up with strategies and things to do next. You got Sami Zayn in the back laughing. He was obviously the comedic relief and the heart of the group. You got Paul Heyman in the back looking like a creep. We already know what he's about. You got Solo Sikoa, which is kind of sad to look at this because that is the most threatening he was so far in his career on the main roster, but it is what it is. And then you see Roman Reigns in the middle with his arms crossed, of course, showing that he's a leader. So I absolutely love this poster. This is one of my favorite posters in Survivor Series history. Let's move on to next up. We got a poster from 2013. Now, I know some of you guys might think, well, after those amazing posters he just showed us, why did he pick this poster here? There's a couple of reasons why I love this poster. For one, RIP to the late great Luke Harper and to Bray Wyatt. I love the fact that they're in this poster, but I like the old washed look of this. It looked like someone took a VHS tape cover and left it in the basement, and the basement got flooded. And I like this. It looks like a B-rated Redbox movie, but I think that's the charm of it. And it kind of looks like they cut them out of a magazine and just put them on this. But again, I love the washed out part of it. And another thing that I love about some WWE posters is that unless you look at the bottom, you don't know what this is. You might think that this might be a new hunting show on the Discovery Channel, another season of Duck Dynasty, or some type of like biography about people down in Louisiana, but you won't know that until you look at the bottom. It reminds me of this poster that I saw like at the movie theater where there were knights fighting, and I'm like, oh man, this movie looks amazing. This looks like the next medieval epic. I'm gonna go see this. But then I saw the Skittles logo on the bottom left corner, and I was slightly disappointed, but I was also impressed by the way they set this up. But to see this with two grown men squatting alligators on a back, or crocodiles, whichever one, y'all let me know. I think this is a simple, effective, great poster. I really do love this. But let's move on to the next one. Survivor Series 2019. Okay, this is the one that I went to, and obviously there may be some bias there because of the fact that I was there, but then also this is the first time that we got to get a mix of all three brands. Four technically, because you had NXT, NXT UK, SmackDown, and Raw all in the same Survivor Series, and you have yet to see that happen again. And I thought that was an amazing combination. There's also an alternative poster for this, but I didn't like that much because I don't really care for WWE posters when they bunch a bunch of wrestlers in there if it's not a Royal Rumble poster. Like, it just feels like that. But this poster right here pretty much encapsulates the three women that we had going crazy at that time. And the unfortunate thing is a lot of people won't know how great Shayna Baszler was as the women's NXT champion. And I'm not going to expound on that more because health insurance is going to go up next year. So I don't want her to see me in public and break my arm. All right. I want to have my limbs. But this is a great poster. And if you take the titles off of them, and if you take the WWE Survivor Series logo off, you probably would think this will be like the next, superhero epic if it wasn't made by, a certain company. But I love this poster. It's simple. It goes straight to the point. The colors in the back tells you what brand they're from. I love it, bro. I think it's great. So this next poster right here is from 2021. And you know what? I like this poster for so many different reasons. For one, when you first look at it, you're like, okay, this could be the next Tron movie, or this could be the next like sci-fi epic. But then you see the WWE logo in the back, and it's like, what is he hiding? And just looking at that tells you what it is. And then after all this seriousness from the neck down, you look up and you see Big E smiling, bro, which is funny because that is the most Big E thing ever, bro. He was never serious, and it makes you miss seeing Big E in the ring and seeing him as champion. But I don't have much to say about this. I think they did a great job with this poster. The next poster here is from 2009, man. Survivor Series 2009. And, as I said before, I love when they make movie poster like Survivor Series posters. And this pretty much tells us what DX was. They just destroyed things, right? And it takes me back to when they took tanks over to the WCW. show, and all those other things. But I think this poster is very simple. I like it. Again, 80s style watercolor is going to get me every single time. Movie influence poster is going to get me every single time. And it just reminds me, you know, especially when you look at Triple H and Shawn Michaels right now, it just takes you back to how young and goofy and wild they were back in the day. And those were some great moments. Those are some great moments. The next one, I'm going to combine two together. This is kind of cheating. So this is from Survivor Series 1999, and this is from Survivor Series 2000. So the reason why I put them together is I like them for the same reason. Just because they have, like right here, they have the old school marble background, the WWF scratch logos, but the font that back in the day we thought was cool, when we look back at it, is terrible. But that's just the nostalgic beauty of it all. And this shows us like how things used to be designed on WWE t-shirts and posters and VHS tapes that isn't like that anymore. I like it just has a radar, Stone Cold Steve Austin on the front with camouflage. I like it for that reason. I don't want to over expound on these posters because I feel like they're very, very simplistic. And the last poster I have on here is this one from Survivor Series 2007 with Edge on the front with what I think is a phaser cannon. I don't know what you would call it. But as I told you guys before, I love when WWE does movie poster as Survivor Series posters, man. This looks like it could be one of the greatest sci-fi, you know, action movies of all time. Like I love this, bro. And with Edge standing in front, I loved Edge back at that time. So I can't expound on that more. I think this was a really, really great poster, and it's really early in the morning, so I'm thinking I'm running out of brain juice. But anyway, at the end of the day, that's my top 10 favorite Survivor Series posters of all time. Let me know in the comment section what's your favorite Survivor Series posters. I would love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Salute, peace, have a great day.